User defined function. So yesterday we have seen the utilization of the inbuilt functions, the functions which are already there. But SQL also allow us to create our own function. If we want, we can create a function with our name. Okay, so let's take an example. So how can we define a function? So you can say it is a name given to a pre-written code. For an example, if there is a particular functionality which is required on a repetitive basis, so rather than writing the complete functionality again and again, you can create a function for it. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
So let's create a function over here. It was learn 52, huh? Okay. So I'm creating a simple function which should give me the sum of two specified number. Let me execute this. Command completed successfully. Now let us try to understand this function line by line. So the first statement says create function and the name of the function, that is my sum. Okay. So just like we have a command that is create table and others, similarly create function is a command to create a function. Okay. Create function, it is a command to create a function, and then the name of the function, it could be any name. Here the name we have taken is as my sum. Okay, so I'm asking SQL to create a function with the name my sum. Now within the parenthesis I have specified @a as int and @b as int. So in SQL, whenever you put @ on in front of anything, it will be considered as a variable. Okay, so here there are two variables of integer type. So what is this complete statement means? In the first statement, I am asking SQL to create a function with the name mySum, which will take two integer value as a parameter or an argument. The value which we provide to a function while creating a function is referred to as the argument or the parameter. Confirm, is this first line clear to you? The first line.
Sir, can you repeat once?
Yes, no worries. So I'm saying in the first line, I have asked SQL to create a function by the name mysum. Okay, and this function will be requiring two values as a parameter, which means for the functioning of this function, two numeric values are required. That is @a as int and @b as int. So whoever will be using this function needs to provide two numbers to it. It is the requirement of this function. Just like you can take an example of, let's take any date function, right? So when you use the date functions like date diff, so you have to give the date part, the start date and the end date. So three values you have to provide to use that function. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Similarly, over here, whenever your function will be used, it will be requiring two numbers. Is this clear now?
Clear, sir.
Hmm. Then the next statement says returns int. Returns int. So here it is specifying that whenever this function will be used, it will be returning one integer value as a parameter. Sorry, as a result. It will be returning a integer value as a result. Also remember, a function can take any number of arguments. How many arguments this function is taking over here? Can you tell me?
Two.
Hmm. So a function can take any number of arguments, that is 0 to n, but can always return only a single value. It can never return more than one value. Is that clear?
Clear, sir.
Hmm. Okay. So it will finally be returning a integer value as begin and end. So here comes the functionality of the function. So whatever the code you are writing will be contained within this begin and end. So you can call it as a block of the code, or you can call it as the body of the function, begin and end. And here we have used the first statement, that is declare at the rate c as int. So declare is a keyword to create a variable. So I am creating a variable c of integer type. Then I am saying set at the rate c is equal to at the rate a plus at the rate b. Set at the rate c is equal to at the rate a plus at the rate b. Set is a keyword to assign a value to a variable. So the sum of a and b will be assigned to the variable c. Okay. The sum of a and b will be assigned to the variable c. And then it is saying return at the rate c. So whatever the value of c will be returned as an output. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Right. Now just go through this, just read this function at your end. Read it and tell me, is it 100% clear every line? Mehak, hi sir, just joined. No worries. Mehak, we are working on the user defined functions over here. Yeah, Rohit, you raised the hand. Do you wanted to say something?
Sir, just wanted to ask that is it at C when instead of using equal to we have to put a hyphen for this set condition, or
Where hyphen?
at C there is no equal to there, right?
There is
So
a equal to over here, yeah? It's an equal to. Hmm?
okay, it was so small I could only see one dash. Sorry, sorry.
No worries. At the rate c is equal to at the rate a plus at the rate b. Right? Clear? Right. So the function has been created. Now let us try to utilize this function. So just like we have used any other function, so I will say select my sum, and I can say 10 comma 20. What should I get? What should I get?
30.
30. But we are getting a error over here. We are getting an error over here, which says my sum is not recognized as a built-in function name. That simply means that SQL is not able to recognize your function. SQL is not able to recognize your function. Okay. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
SQL is not able to recognize this function, but why? Because it is a user defined function, and currently SQL is considering it as an inbuilt function, and it is searching it within its default environment. But we have to tell SQL that it is a user defined function for which we will be using the keyword that is dbo dot, and now execute it, and you are getting the result. Right? So where DBO stands for database objects. DBO stands for database objects. By this, the SQL recognizes that this is the function which has been designed in the current database, which is Learn 52. So database object. So remember, whenever you will be using the this what's the user defined function, it needs to be preceded by the keyword DBO. Clear to all?
Clear, sir.
Perfect. And one more important point I will like to highlight over here. You can see in the creation of the functions, one time I have written returns and another time I have used the return. And this is an important interview question. Difference between returns and return. Difference between returns and return. Return, when we say returns, one with S, returns. Returns specify the type of value my function will return. Returns in, returns char, etc. Whereas return without S, it will specify the exact value the function will return. Okay, right. Now, so let's create one more example of a user-defined function. Let's try to create something like a calculator where along with the numbers taken by the user, taken from the user, I will also take what operation needs to be performed. We will ask from the user only. So let's create another function. Let's say cal. Oh,
Sir, this user-defined function will only be valid for this database.
absolutely.
Okay.
Right, here it is. So let me first of all create and use this function and then I will explain it. Command completed successfully. And I can say select dbo.cal, let's say 5 comma 4 comma plus execute. You can see I'm getting the sum of two numbers. Let's say multiply. I'm getting the product. Let's say minus. Here it is. Let's say divide. Let's say mod. Let's put something else. Let's say dollar zero. Right? Here it is. So that means the function is working fine. Dhaval is saying something. Can you please add topic name for each class? Dhaval, I started with the topic only. The name of the topic which we are covering is a user defined function. Okay. Right. So it is working fine. Correct. Now let's try to understand this, what we have done over here. So in the first line, create function cal at the rate x as int, at the rate y as int, and at the rate o as char1. So what have we written over here? Here in the first line, we are saying that we are creating a function cal, which will take how many arguments? How many arguments this function is taking?
3.
three arguments, two of integer and one is of a character type. Okay. So the two values and the character type variable is used to accept the operator which the user will be providing. Then returns int, which means finally it will be returning the integer value as a output as begin and end. Now within the body of the function, I have returned declare at the rate r as int. So I have created a variable r of integer type in which I will be storing the result. Now we are checking if at the rate o is equal to plus. We are checking whether the operator provided by the user is plus. If the condition is true, then set at the rate r is equal to at the rate x plus at the rate y. So the sum of x and y will be assigned to the variable r. However, if the condition is not true, it will go to the else and check whether the value of O is minus. If yes, then the difference of x and y will be assigned to the variable r. If not, again the condition becomes false. It will go to the next part and check whether the value of the operator is multiply. If yes, the product of x and y will be assigned to the variable r. And so on, it will keep on checking till the time condition becomes true. However, if none of the condition is true, which means the user has provided some another operator other than the specified one, we have set the value of r to 0. Then finally we are returning the value of the variable r. That's it. Simple. Okay, is that clear?
Clear, sir.
Dhaval, I would suggest you to please focus on what I'm talking. Don't focus on the topic's name and all. This is the admin related task, so that will be done by the admin team. Okay, and my humble request is please focus on the very important topic, that is user defined functions. Okay, here it is. Clear. And I think somebody's Rohit, you are raising the hand. Do you wanted to say something?
No,
Rohit, do you
actually,
wanted to say something?
it was the older one only. I just
Okay, no worries. It's okay. Fine. So is this function clear to all? Any questions on this?
clear.
Clear. Okay. So now I will give you one more example of a function. And I think yesterday we have created, yes, we have created one query in which we have created a corporate email ID. Correct? We created the corporate email ID. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So if you remember, while creation of that corporate email ID, we have to write comparatively longer code. Yes, a long query, multiple functions has to be used. Now let's see if we create a function for the generation of a corporate email ID. So let's try to do that. Create function. So basically what I want over here is, suppose the employee ID is E0001. The name is, let's say, Rajiv Garg, and the domain is, let's say, Outlook. Okay, if this is it, so I want that the function should generate the corporate email ID by concatenating the first character of the name, followed by the last name, followed by the last three digits of the employee ID, followed by at the rate the domain, which is outlook.com. Is this requirement clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So create function, let's say female, at the rate ID as char spy, comma, at the rate N as varchar 30, comma, at the rate D as varchar, let's take 50, return varchar 100 as.
So I just have a random question actually.
Yes, could you please be a bit louder? Your voice is very low.
So I just had a random question. So
Hmm.
when we get an error, it gives us the error at the line number. Where do we see the line number
No,
in
you will
this?
not be able to match that line number over here, right? So it will, I would say that it will not be appropriate over here because uh, how many lines? One, two, three, four, five, six lines. This is a six line over here, but from SQL it will be considered as a one line. Okay. So by the help of line number, you will not be able to check for the error. Okay.
Okay.
Because the line as per you and as per SQL is different.
So there's no way to have the line number written next to the
No,
code.
no, here you will not be able to get the line number. Okay. Uh, Here it is. So we were creating a function to generate a corporate email ID, and here for the functionality, I will be taking some variables. Declare at the rate EML varchar 100. Declare at the rate L as int. Declare at the rate as int. Declare at the rate ln as varchar 20. Here it is. Now, so the same logic which we have used yesterday, we are using today. So that is, we need to get the first character of the name and then the last name. So in order to get the last name, length minus space from the right of length minus space. So I can say I want to find out the space. So I can say set at the rate s is equal to char index. I want to find the position of the space within the name. Then set at the rate L is equal to, I want to find the length of the name. Now set at the rate ln is equal to, that is the last name, right of name comma length minus space. Okay. Then I can say set at the rate em is equal to concat right, sorry, left of name comma 1, which is the first character of the name, comma right of followed by the last name. Okay, so here it is. We have at the rate ln, that is the last name, followed by the last four digits of the employee ID. So at the rate ID comma 4 comma followed by at the rate followed by at the rate d followed by .com. It is. And let me convert it to a uppercase. Upper. And I can say return at the rate em. And let me execute and check whether it works fine or not. Select dbo.c mail. It says ID name and domain. So ID is E0001. Name is Rajiv Garg. And the domain is Outlook. You can see it is coming rgarg0001 at outlook.com. 0001 at outlook.com. 0001 at outlook.com. 0001 at outlook.com. 0001 at outlook.com. You can see it is coming rgarg0001 at outlook.com. You can see it is coming rgarg0001 at outlook.com. 0001 at outlook.com. 0001 at outlook.com. You can see it is coming Let me make E0015 Kapil Gupta, and let's take Learnbay. kgupta0015 @learnbay.com. Clear? And if I want, I can use it like this. Select EID, comma, name, comma, TBO dot C mail, EID, comma, name, comma, let's say Learnbay as Hotmail from EMP. So you can see we are getting the corporate email IDs over here. Is that clear? Yes, no, maybe?
Clear, sir.
Right. So now whenever you have a requirement of generation of a corporate email ID, no need to write the long code. Okay, no need to write the long code. You can simply use this function over here. That is CMail, and you will be getting a corporate email ID. Now let us understand this function once again. So I have created a function with the name CMail, which is taking two character values as an argument, the ID, the N, and the domain. And finally, it is returning a varchar value as begin. And then now here I have taken few variables @em, which I am using to store the concatenated email ID, @l, which is I'm using to store the length of the name, @s, which I have used to store the position of a space within the name, and @ln, which I have used to store the last name. Then I have set @s is equal to char index. I want to find the position of the space within the name. So whatever the position at which the space is coming, I have put it in the variable s. Similarly, a set @l is equal to length of name. So I've taken the length of the name and put it into the variable l. Set @ln is equal to right of name comma length minus a space. So by this, I have fetched the last name and it is stored it into the variable ln. Then set that @em is equal to concatenate. @em is equal to concatenate. I have taken left of name comma 1, that is the first character of the name, comma, followed by @ln, which is the last name, comma, followed by right of id comma 4, that is the last four digits of the employee id, comma, followed by and comma .com. So it has been concatenated, and finally I have converted this complete corporate email ID in a uppercase, and we have said return email. Clear? Any questions on this? Yes, no?
Clear, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Now over here we have two type of user defined function. One is the scalar functions and another is the table valued function. Scalar function are also referred to as single valued functions. So scalar, basically scalar means one, single. So scalar functions are the functions which returns a single value. So all these examples which I have given you, the three functions example which I have given you, all these three functions falls into the category of the scalar function because finally they are returning only a single value. Then what are the table valued functions? Table valued functions are the functions which returns the combination of row and column. And what is the combination of row and column known as? Tell me.
Table.
Table, and that is why we call them as a table valued function. Okay. So Let's take an example over here of a table valued function. Okay, let me first of all write a query to get the salary details of, let's take HR team member. So I can say select. Here it is. So you can see I have written a query to get the salary details of the HR team member. Simple query over here. Yes,
Yes, sir.
right. However, assuming that this is my regular requirement on and off, I need to get the salary details of the HR team member. And whenever I need to get the salary details, I have to write this comparatively longer query. Correct? Now let's try to make this process simple by the help of a function. So I can say create function, and I will say any game, create function name, returns table as, let me execute this. Command completed successfully. The function has been created. Now look at this function carefully. And there are three syntactical differences in this function and the other functions which we have created. Can you people highlight what are those three function difference?
Returns table is first one.
Very good. Returns table. Till now we were getting we were writing something like returns char, returns varchar, int, but here it is saying returns table. Why? Because it is a table which will be returning a combination of rows and column. That is a table here. That is why we have said returns table. Absolutely correct. Next,
There is no
Next
begin and
is
end statement.
there is no, somebody saying there is no.
Begin and end statement.
Very good. Absolutely correct. There is no begin and is end over here. Very important. Now look at this. Look at this, the body of the function, and can you tell me how many lines I have written in this body of this function? How many line of code I have written?
One line.
only one.
Are you sure only one?
Yes.
Yeah, because everything is inside return.
It is a single line. Why? Because no matter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have written this in a 5 lines, but actually it is one line because of this. However, in all the other functions, see over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here also you can see so many lines. Here also you can see there are 3 lines. So why do we use begin and end? Begin and end is used to create, begin and end is used to create a block of code, right? So, but over here, no matter in the table valued function, no matter how many bigger query you write, but after all, you will be writing a single query only. That is why in a table valued function, we don't need to use begin and end. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Perfect.
Yes.
We also didn't use any arguments in the
Very good. That was the third difference. So here it does not takes any argument. So it is not that the functions, a table valued function cannot take the argument. It can definitely take the argument, but I just want to give you one example where a function without an argument. You can compare it with the get date function, which does not takes anything from you, but it gives you the current date. So I'm just creating a function without any argument. Okay, so these are the 3 points which you have highlighted correctly. Now let us try to use this function. So what I will say, select, the name of the function is L52FNSL, L52FNSAL, right? Let me execute it, and we are getting an error. What happened?
You have to use DBO, right?
DBO dot.
Hmm?
DBO dot.
Oh, sorry, I missed on
DBO dot.
DBO. I missed on DBO. Sorry. DBO dot. Now let's try to execute it. Still, I am getting an error. Why? Although I have used DBO, but still I am getting an error over here. Why? Because this is a table valued function. And what is the command to fetch the data from the table? What is
Select
the
star
command to
from. Select
select star from? Absolutely. So here also you have to say select star from. Now execute, you are getting the result. So as it is a table valued function which is returning a table, so here you have to say select star from DBO dot function name. Clear? And you can see we are getting the salary details of the HR team member. Now whenever you need this, you just have to say select star from DBO dot function name, and you will be getting what you are looking forward to.
Sir, one
Okay. Yeah.
doubt.
Yes.
Maybe silly doubt, but
Okay.
this in this kind of scenario, right, where it is all static, we can just create a view and take data from view directly, right? So wouldn't a table function require some kind of parameter, like if it's dynamic only compared to view? Just trying to figure out difference between table
View and
function
function.
and view.
Okay, so there is, I would say, there is no comparison between table valued, function and the view, because what is a view? View is a virtual table, right? So when you create a view, you will be able to do the insertion, updation, deletion using that view. Yes or no?
Yeah.
But it is a function. It will only do what it has been designed for. So we have designed this function to fetch the salary details of the HR team member, and it can only display, it cannot do anything else. Okay,
Okay.
right.
And sir, here
So
also we can use where clause, etc. after this function, like select star from. Can we use a normal SQL after that, like where and other?
no, no,
No.
no,
Okay.
no. So the functionality of the function has been defined. Now,
Okay.
as said by you, as of now, you are calling it as a static function which does not takes an argument. So let me drop this function, drop function L52FNSAL. I have dropped the function, and let me recreate this function. And this time I will be creating it as a parameterized function at the rate, let's say df execute. Now see, I'm getting the salary details of the IT team member, MIS team member, HR team members, correct?
Yeah, I
Is
mean
this possible
that
in
was in
view?
my head. That's why I
Yes,
said
I
static.
know that. Is it possible in view?
No.
Not at all. Absolutely. So ideally, there is no comparison between the views and the function. And I have intentionally written the same query. If you remember, I have written the same query for the view as well. Remember?
Yeah.
In the when I was giving you an example of the views, I have used the same query, and I have used the same query over here also because I wanted you to compare the view and the functions so that I can tell you that actually there is no comparison between the two. Clear? So these are the table valued functions. Any other question on this? Any other question over here? Shall I proceed?
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. So let's proceed. So here it is. We talked about the user defined function. Somebody is saying something, it seems. One. Okay. Right. So now we know what is a user defined function. So a user defined function can be used to perform a complex logic, can accept parameters and return data. So you can take an example of this function which we have created for creation of a this corporate email ID. So whatever the logic it has performed and finally giving us the result. As I told you, there are two type of function. One is the scalar function, also referred to as a single valued function. The function can take any number of argument but will be returning only a single value. Then we have talked about the uh, table valued function, which returns a combination of rows and column, that is referred to as table, and that is why it is known as table valued function. Also remember that while we need to fetch the data from the table valued function, we have to write select star from and then the function name. And here comes your assignment. So question number 1, create a function cal to perform the specified operations on the given two numbers. So we have already done it in the session. You just have to recreate it. Question number 2, function to generate the email ID by accepting the name and employee ID. Email should contain first character, first name, first character, last name, and last three digits of the employee ID followed by @rcg.com. So again, I would say that this is the same example which we have just done with slight changes. So you have to create a function for this. Then function to return employee ID, name, designation, department, salary of the employees of the specified department. So the last table valued function which we have created, it is similar to that. Function to display the name, department, designation, city of the employee who have the birthday in the current month, right? So here you can create a function, let's say with the name birthday. So what I want that whenever you write select star from dbo.birthday, you should get the list of all the employees having the birthday in the respective month. Is that clear? Next, function to display the name, department, date of joining of the employees who have completed 5 years in the company. So again, it is an example of a table valued function where you can write so you can say, let's say the name of the function is tenure. So you can say select star from dbo.tenure and it should give the list of all the employees who have completed 5 years in the company. Or you can also make it dynamic by accepting the number of years from the user. So if the user says 7, so it should give the list of all the employees who have completed 7 years in the company.